Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. Pardon my set today. I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location. This is a hotel room. As you may have guessed, I am on the road right now, but I did not want to miss a chance to give you one of our regular Tuesday newscast updates. A lot going on in the Middle East as always. Number one, Iran carrying out yet another major military drill today. Tuesday, January 19th, and number two, the Iranian regime making noise about enriching more and more uranium that would lead to a nuclear bomb. We'll get into it in a second. Before I do, I just want to encourage you to subscribe to the Watchman News channel right here on YouTube and click the notification bell so you get alerts every time we post a new update. Folks, we're posting them now practically every day because so much is going on here in 2021. And we're bringing you the kind of cutting-edge, timely analysis that you just won't hear anywhere else, certainly not in the mainstream media. So let's get into it. We've been following very closely over the past 2 weeks these major Iranian military drills in the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. Let's rewind real quick. It all started about 2 weeks ago with a major drone drill, the first of its kind carried out by Iran, where they showcased hundreds of military attack drones, the kind of drones that could carry out air-to-air attacks, air-to-surface attacks, and also so-called suicide or kamikaze drones that can be packed with explosives and hit their target. So that was a big deal. These were domestically produced Iranian drones, which is another interesting point there. That kicked things off about 2 weeks ago. In the wake of that, Iran unveiled two new warships just last week. One was used for missile launchers. The other was a helicopter carrier. And in the meantime, Iran has also carried out short-range, mid-range, and long-range missile tests. Again, folks, this is all just in the last 2 weeks. I think the most significant of those tests, and we talked about it on our Saturday, January 16th newscast. You can check it out here on our archives. It happened on that day, on the 16th. It was an anti-warship long-range missile drill where Iran in the Indian Ocean carried out this long-range missile drill, and it reportedly struck its target using long-range missiles with a distance of at least 1,200 miles. What does that tell you, folks? These are missiles that, yes, can reach Israel, can reach Saudi Arabia, and can reach U.S. forces in the Middle East region. So that was alarming. Another alarming aspect of that drill on Saturday was that these missiles fell just about 20 miles from a commercial vessel in the Indian Ocean, and the drill itself took place only about 100 miles from a U.S. aircraft carrier in the Persian Gulf, the USS Nimitz. That all led up to today. Now, we've had the air drills, we've had the naval drills, the missile drills, so it makes sense that Iran would have a ground forces drill. That's exactly what they had today on the Gulf of Oman. Iranian commando units and Iranian airborne units, paratroopers carrying out this major ground forces drill. So what Iran has done over the past 2 weeks, they've showed the world, number one, some of their new and advanced hardware, warships, long-range missiles, and showed their military capabilities. But number two, clearly, they are continuing to attempt to send a message to Israel, the United States, Saudi Arabia, and the Sunni Arab nations that they are on war footing. Now, the United States and Israel, as we've documented many times here in the newscast over the past few weeks, are also on war footing. And we are heading, I fear, folks, in 2021 towards a collision course. The Iranian regime is vowing revenge for the deaths of terror kingpin Qasem Soleimani at the hands of the United States and the demise of the father of their nuclear weapons program, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, on November 27, 2020. Iran continues to vow revenge. Israel and the United States, rightly so, are saying, hey, don't even think about it. We're not going to let you do this without a strong response. That's why we've seen shows of force from Israel and the United States as well over the past several weeks with B-52 bombers, submarines, the aircraft carrier that I mentioned. So it's a tit-for-tat thing going on, and the collision course, I fear, will only heighten or speed up or become more probable in 2021 because of the Biden administration's apparent desire to re-enter the Iran nuclear deal. Which brings us to our second piece of news today. I'm just going to pull it up real quick on my laptop from the Times of Israel website. They've got a good rundown of it. We've been telling you here that Iran is enriching uranium now at a very dangerous clip. They are in violation of that 2015 nuclear deal, which the United States, thankfully under President Trump, pulled out of in May 2018, but which Germany, France, China, and Russia are desperate to keep alive, and which President Biden, he's inaugurated in Washington, D.C. tomorrow, January 20th, which he says he wants to re-enter this Iran deal. Today, the head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization said that Iran was now producing almost 500 grams of uranium enriched to 20% purity a day, and that is in breach of the 2015 nuclear accord. Now, not to get too in the weeds, I know that stuff can be confusing for me as well. I'm not an atomic expert or an expert on uranium enrichment, but I listen to the experts, and what they're saying is now that Iran is enriching uranium at a 20% clip, it's not far off to go from 20 to 90% and have the capability to build the bomb. Of course, to build a nuclear bomb, you need to enrich uranium. And Iran also, we reported here on the newscast last week, is now producing uranium metal, which is also a crucial component to building a nuclear bomb. Hello, they're not fooling anyone. They can say this is for peaceful purposes, but anyone with common sense can see that Iran wants the bomb. Unfortunately, we live in times where common sense is not so common, but that's exactly what's happening, folks. They're driving for the bomb. They've been doing it all along, and according to various atomic experts, Iran could break out in 3 to 6 months. If they want the bomb, if they really want it, they can do it within months. So we've been saying that the Middle East is a tinderbox, right? Well, indeed it is. Now, an interesting point here, I mentioned the Biden administration and Joe Biden desiring to get back into that Iran nuclear deal. Of course, he was the vice president under the Obama administration who secured that deal back in 2015. But Biden's nominee for Director of National Intelligence at her confirmation hearing yesterday said, well, we aren't going to be so fast to re-enter that deal. We want to address Iran's ballistic missile program and their nefarious activities in the region. That was actually very refreshing to hear, folks, because my main criticism of the Iran nuclear deal was, of course, well, several criticisms, but two of my main criticisms were that Iran's burgeoning ballistic missile program was not even mentioned in that deal. And number two, Iran's terror activities throughout the region were also not even addressed. Can you imagine striking a deal with Iran, the world's #1 state sponsor of terrorism, the region's, the Middle East's #1 developer of ballistic missiles, and not bringing those 2 points to the table? Insanity. And I don't say that lightly. So if Joe Biden is hell-bent on re-entering that deal, let's just hope and pray that ballistic missiles are on the table now. Iran's terror sponsorship and activities throughout the region, including, as an American, killing, at least hundreds, maybe even 1,000 or more U.S. troops in Iraq over the past several years. Let's hope that all that is mentioned. Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis in Yemen, these radical Shia militias in Iraq, that all march to the beat of the drum in Tehran. My preference is no deal at all, because the Iranian regime has shown very clearly, as we just laid out, they're not going to keep to the deal and they're not going to follow it. They are committed to acquiring the bomb. It's going to be a very interesting 2021. Hey, quick programming note, the Watchman TV show on TBN, you can now catch Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, or right here on YouTube, you can catch full episodes as well. Until next time, from my hotel, thanks for joining us today. God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace.